Well, hi everybody, it's Chris. On November 6th, 2025. I'm in terms of my terminal illness, I'm about halfway through my diagnosis of less than 6 months to live. August, September, October, and now November, I got the diagnosis on the beginning of August, but I'm doing better than I thought I would. And I attribute that to the grace of God and to the ivermectin. I have no pain. My tumor has not grown substantially, and I also attribute that to ivermectin. And I could be in a lot worse shape. So the nurse marvels that I don't have any pain, and believe me, I thank God for that. But anyway, today I want to talk about what's the big deal. Well, it's starting to snow here, and I got a lot of things I want to do, but not enough energy. I haven't been real diligent the way I should be to beat the storms. But so I've got to put still some stuff away, otherwise you end up shredding it up or messing up your snowblower. But I've got the new snow tires. They're going to go on the pickup truck. That's one of the things on the list to do. And then I'm going to put the mowing tractor underneath the porch. And that guy, it took me about 1.5 years to get that tractor to the point that it would start consistently. It'd either have a heck of a time starting cold after sitting for a while, or even got to the point where it was very difficult to start it when you just shut it off. And it was a lot of minor stuff, a lot of relays that had a bunch of dirt on them. They weren't making contact. But at least when I'm grateful that I got the thing running reliably. What was wrong, what wasn't wrong, the relays, the contact points. I put a new computer panel in it, and also put a new head gasket on the one side, and put a new carburetor on it. And I don't know if it would start right now. Probably not if I had it on film. Would just do that to defy me. But this is going to go underneath the porch for the winter. Now, this other Simplicity tractor, that's another mowing tractor. Not 1/10 the tractor of the John Deere. It's not the best tractors made. They're a cheaper tractor, and they're really not that well built. And then we come to here's the second snowplow, and this is a one that has a fuel injected, and I've never had much of a problem with that starting. It's a pretty problem-free tractor, and that's the one that I use for the wet snows. Snow blowers are pretty much useless in wet snows. They constantly clog. So this will probably be the first tractor that will be used for the next couple of weeks when you get wet snows. Then usually around December you start getting those heavy dry snows. The regular snow. You can't do anything here without chains. I got to make sure the chains are tight, and the wheel weights make a big difference. The difference between being able to plow snow or not. Now that big snow plow over there, that belongs to Spagnati, and he uses that on his second truck. And we're gonna go over and see what's going on over there. See if we take a swing over here. Try to get around this. Here, here's the the truck with the four-wheel drive on it. This is a 1997 Ford Ranger, and they're highly coveted because they're very reliable. This one has a brand new engine in it, a rebuilt, remanufactured engine. It's four-wheel drives. It's got a little rust on it and the rear deck, but hopefully this will be a snowbuster. And the trailer, I've got to clean the trailer off. And what do we do with the trailer? Well, in the winter, if in the unlikely, or my stuff likely event, that the tractor breaks down, I can load it on the back of this trailer and take it to the dealer. Now, or sometimes if somebody down the street wants you to come over and bail them out in the snow, I can use that if it's too far to drive to haul the tractor. Now, we're going to come over here. I tried getting some people. I have this reliable snow blowing sign here. I'll show you that. And, I tried to get some customers, but I don't know if it's just they don't like me or because I'm not from around here. But last year at this time, I was a pretty sick guy. Couldn't breathe. And, quite frankly, at night, I thought that I wasn't going to make it to the morning. So, ironic, isn't it, that I'm in better shape now than I was a year ago? I feel much better. I swallow better. I breathe better. And I attribute that to that fenbenzidol or something like that, and to the ivermectin. If anybody tells you that, there are those who say that the ivermectin will cure you of cancer. Well, I'm not that optimistic, but I'll tell you, it's making my life a lot more comfortable. That I can breathe better, swallow better, sleep better. Now you'll see here. Come back here. It's snowing pretty hard, but it's the temperature is coming over here. It's 35 degrees, and it's not even sticking on the grass yet, but that'll probably happen. Now, the other thing I want to do is burn that pile because I'll end up shredding it when it all becomes snow. I predict that within the next two Fridays from now, there'll be anywhere from a foot to a foot and a half of snow. And by the middle of February, there will be anywhere from 20 feet of snow. And so 10 feet of snow is 120. 20 feet would be 240 inches. We get anywhere from 240 inches to, I think last year we had 308. One year we had 367 when I lived here. When I moved here in the last 8 years. And I think there was one year we had, I think it was like around 240 the year before last. Last year was 308. So, if you want to be a little imaginative, just think of coming here probably in 2.5 months and there's 30 feet of snow. There have been times in a storm on April 15th, 16th, we had 79 mile an hour winds, and the gangway between the house and the what they call the garage, it's more like a pole barn. It's not insulated. It doesn't have any heat. But anyway, the gangway between the house and the garage, there wasn't any snow and it was swept clean. And I was wondering now, where did that snow go? How does this work? And I came around the corner and there was a snowdrift as high as that center peak. Above the center peak. It was shaved off at the center peak by the wind. So, where these tractors are sitting now, there was snow up slightly past the center peak. And it was unbelievable. Um, even the tractors had a hard time going through that one. So, some guy asked me, why do you got all these tractors? Well, I have a lot of tractors because worst comes to worst, if one breaks down, I don't have to work on it in the middle of a snowstorm. And everything's interchangeable. In the unlikely event that this one tractor here, the snowblower, would blow up, the tractor would blow up, and I'll show you the other one blows up, I can always use that third tractor, the third John Deere tractor. So there's potentially, it'd take me a few hours in the garage in the winter. I'd have to put the chains on the tires and the weights, and it would be it'd be a 4 or 5 hour deal or more, probably 6, 7 hours to change the wheels and to drop the mower and put another snowblower on there. It would be a pretty big job, but I would say and that's why I use the word reliable. I got 3 potential tractors here, 2 potential snowblower units, and 1 snow blade on there. So it's pretty hard to envision that I couldn't move some snow no matter how much we got. But who knows? The question isn't whether the equipment's going to happen. It used to be whether the equipment was going to hold up. The question is, would I hold up? Last year, in this upcoming time, we had, it snowed every day. We had 65 inches in 10 days. So we averaged about 6.5 inches per day for 10 days. And I'll tell you, then we had another bout before Christmas when I was out every day and I lost my voice just at Christmas time. I think some people might remember that. So I don't have cabs. These tractors are thousands of dollars without a cab, and then they want almost as much for a metal cab and a heater in it that they do for the entire tractor. Now, just a little bit about the tractors. Now this guy, I just got this thing I've been working on and trying to grease it up. I just used the grease gun on it. Filled the gearbox with 90 weight oil. Greased up the pulleys. And the big thing was, this thing had a thing called a shim in there. And I couldn't get the right shim, so I tried to make one, and it semi-worked. I glued it in there, but then what I did was I took this and it spins quite well. I hope. And this is a new gearbox in here. So, now, hopefully I'll get this garage cleaned up in it's awfully cold out here for me under this condition. And this one here, this guy's a very reliable tractor. I think it's possibly the oldest one in the fleet, or second oldest. But we got another snowblower on there. So, and that has been very reliable. These are, these 2 older ones are 20 horse, carbureted, and the newest one is 22 horses, and that would be fuel injected. So We hope we'll be covered for the season. I just had this thing probably cleaned up about 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. You know, spent a tremendous amount of time in this garage. A lot of work. Been a lot of work here. So one of the bigger things when we went to look at this house was the garage. I thought, well, if I get old and I can't work, and that's where I'm at now and sick, at least I would have potentially someplace to work on stuff. So, as it stands, everything's pretty status quo. Certainly, I would say things are better than status quo. They're better. I'm in much better shape than I was a year this time, but the long-term prognosis doesn't look really great. So, anyway, I want to keep in touch. I've been sort of, it's getting to the point, if I get any sicker, I'm not going to be able to. It's going to be very hard to hold on to this place because when you have to do everything yourself, it's pretty rough. Okay, well, anyway, pray for my happy death. And this is Chris from Vertical Without Bedsores. And little Mary's in school, and she's doing quite well. Thank you. Bye.